Tombstone, Arizona is in a very barren section of desert. It holds so much history, including the world's most famous gunfight straight out of the Old West, where the deaths of 3 people took place in a lot very near the OK Corral. It is a small lot that still commemorates the event, with actual structures and mannequins that display the men who were involved in the most famous gunfight that ever took place. It brought about legends such as Wyatt Earp, the most famous lawman in the Old West. But some people were not in agreement that it was a fair fight. The 3 men murdered, the McLowrys and a Clanton brother, were said to be murdered in the streets of Tombstone as the town was divided from politics. Now the place commemorates much death, such as old hearses hanging around in display, and even a commemoration to Marshall White, who was one of the men gunned down by Curly Bill Brocious in a spot that is still commemorated to this day from a plaque that stands where he was gunned down in the streets and died sometime later. The town does commemorate its undertaking endeavors, as it's known as one of the meanest towns in the Old West. And just up the way stands the Birdcage Theater, a famous location that stands on its own among the old buildings of historical value. It is a place where people gathered and were very wild. Bullet holes still exist in the ceilings. They'd come to watch shows, and there's so much more going on in this place where the piano keys used to play during the performances, and wild people gathered in one location for nights of celebration. It gets especially strange as you go downstairs, where in this small area there is heavy energy and many reports of paranormal activities, including orbs, strange visions, and even more commemoration to the violence and death that took place around Tombstone. You can find an old hearse down below. There are grim reapers overlooking gambling tables in areas where Johnny Ringo and Wyatt Earp used to make certain nightly celebration. The mannequins are in a haunting atmosphere that is lit by bizarre colors. And outside is a commemoration once again of death driving a coach, as to what happened to the many people that were brought to Tombstone in hopes of riches. Down the dusty road, you'll find certain men dressed as people of the time period, and old buildings that have stood the test of time as they rest like they looked when famous men's boots and spurs wandered down the roads. And toward the outskirts of town, you'll find the famous Boot Hill Cemetery, a place where many people rest, and some of which are in headstones that are unmarked, as their names will be forgotten to time. But this place does hold many things: apparitions and orbs and photographic evidence. Some of the epitaphs, including the embarrassing yet intriguingly creative one for Lester Moore, still stand, and including that of the 3 men said to be murdered in Tombstone. But this place, including the Birdcage Theater and many buildings throughout this Old West town, hold so many secrets. Some are said to be paranormal, and there is evidence to prove such.